Don't you like that? That 50 Shades of... No, it's too shiny. I don't like it. I need something that says that I can kick ass. I'm not supposed to curse right now, am I? Damn it.
I wake up every minute with a fever dreams. I push my mind to a limit where it needs to be. I work blind, got vision I don't need to see. I'm picking mind over matter, I believe in me. I need to find more hours in the day to breathe. Need to find more power in the way I be. And when my mind turns sour with the painful scenes, I need to scream out loud, I can't stop me. I wanna be the greatest like Rocky. You know I leave them all hating like a hobby. I'm out here making moves like a lobby. And if you ain't with me, it's your Roxy. I got my mind on the facts, I'm a python, grab what I like real fast.
Watch me.
I'ma get it how I wanna get it, you don't get it. I can do anything, I don't got a limit. I'ma make my mind up, I'm committed. It might take some time, might take a minute. I won't give up, I don't give a shit. I do what I want when I wanna do it. Call it a power or call it a gift. I call it persistence or driving some wit. I ain't no minute man. Good things take time when I'm in it, man. Give me some time and I'm with a fam. Now I'm gone too far from the beginning, man. I can teach you, but you gotta listen. I got lessons on lessons to give them. Think the masters are open and wishing and thinking and driven and cutting the ribbons.
And they know they don't want it more than me. I work hard, they call it a disease. I work hard so I can go be free. But I don't work for anyone but me.
But it didn't start like that. I was 9 to 5, didn't feel right. Had to get in touch with myself, get my mind back, to figure out what I want in this life bad. And I don't regret it, failed a lot, but I learned my lessons. Got new moves, new things, new weapons, and now I finally got direction.
You ain't got no time to be complacent. You only got one life to go make a statement. Everything you want, it'll all be waiting. So put your mind to it and you can become greatness. So don't quit, don't stop, push through it. You got dreams, one life, go do it. Make moves, improve, keep doing. A new life, new you can choose it.
Watch me.
Let's go.
Watch me.
Gotta really wanna catch hands, no face off. Everybody know I got plans to take off. Everybody know I got bands, no J's on. I'ma do life like me, no days off. I don't really care what you think about me. Hate filling minds up like a disease. Filling me with fight, some life energy. Knowing that I'm doing something right. If you hating, I just try to keep my mind real vacant. I took all my time in the basement. I spent half my life impatient. It was worth all the time and patience. Get it? The way I said it. Never mind, I don't have time, forget it. You can read all my rhymes on Reddit. They need a feed and damn it, I fed it. I got my eyes on the prize. I tell truth, don't hear no lies. I don't take, I give and guide. I don't break, I live and fight. On the chase, I got the sight. Vision goals, I set them right. Working through the lonely nights. Worth it on the other side. If you try to make it fast, it won't last. Take a stab, make it bad. Face a fast, but still lag. Don't give up, don't look back. You got this, don't stop it. No quitting, no stalling, no options. You're running, follow your dreams and find your calling.
You ain't got no time to be complacent. You only got one life to go make a statement. Everything you want, it'll all be waiting. So put your mind to it and you can become greatness. So don't quit, don't stop, push through it. You got dreams, one life, go do it. Make moves, improve, keep doing. A new life, new you can choose it.
Watch me.
Hello. Hey guys, how you doing? How are you guys doing? Are you having a good day? A good moment? A good time? If not, let me help. Welcome to 50 Shades of Fay. But first, I want you guys to hear this because it's hilarious. I'm going to give Jack's HF. Okay? Check the sound out on this. Okay, you ready, Jax? You ready? He does his little tip taps where his feet are going up and down, up and down, up and down. Okay. Oh, he's looking at lips. Okay, you ready? I know. he's being shy. You could do better than that. Hold on. He's not embarrassing me like this. Jax, you want some cheese? What if I do this? I have Doritos, I have Ruffles, and I have cheese and dip. And this dog is like, I'm not gonna play. Come on. I'm sorry, guys. He's not gonna do it. He's not gonna chew. The way that he crunches, it's almost hypnotic. And it is so loud. I can't, in the middle of the night, if Jack finds something like a treat that he's buried, it wakes everyone up in the house because he chews so hard. Ooh, alienated. YouTube. Did you guys hear him in the background? He's chewing now. I made a video of the process. Alienated bakes. Let me make it. Creates the. Can you hear that crunching in the background? That's Jax. Good boy. Yeah, he did it. He just didn't do it close enough to the mic. Thank you, Jax. Here's a piece of cheese. Do you want a piece of cheese? Are you going to turn it down? Snooty dog. Yeah. Okay. Alienated bakes, I say creates and bakes these most wonderful cookies, like the best, and they're beautiful. Like, just looking at them is like, I don't want to eat that. I don't want to ruin that piece of art. It's just fantastic. Welcome again, and today I am covering the Karla Fay Tucker case. And my reasoning for doing so is because Karla Fay committed one of the worst crimes ever, very violent, and was a very different person when she committed the crime. This was in Texas. She was sentenced to death row and spent, I believe, almost 20 years on death row, if not long. It could be less than that, but became a completely different person. She committed her life to religion. And I know that a lot of people say, well, yeah, when they get into prison, they do, they find God. This woman did, and lived it to the point where it convinced officials she was a different person. You're welcome, always. And please video that and put it on, because I do believe people would love to see the way that you do your stuff. Good. Basically, Karla Fay's walk to the execution chamber made officials cry. And one of the guards who held her, who walked her through, a tear ran down his cheek, and Karla Fay looked at him and said, "It's okay, I'm going to be with Jesus, and one day I'm going to see you too." And then they executed her, and that guard quit. And he had seen over 100 executions and was made of stone. And Karla Fay Tucker execution broke him. So I'm going to show you what Karla did. Not specifically, but we're going to get some information about that. And then I'm going to show you what she turned into. Because I believe the worst of the worst, in my opinion, deserve, like people that commit crimes against children. Okay? But the death penalty, it has been proven that people change. I mean, why not sentence her to serve the rest of her life in prison? Not set her free, but instead they executed her. And it had a severe effect on Texas and the severe effect on the look of death penalties. And I believe that they could have done that for Karla. She committed a heinous crime. And she said herself she deserved it. That she wanted to give her life for the life she took. So I'm going to share that story with you today. And I thank you for watching. So give me a second. And I think what we'll do is start out with the crime. Okay, so I'm sorry if this is hard to read, but I'll go ahead and read it for you. Karla Fay Tucker, executed February 3rd, 1998, by lethal injection in Texas. She was the 5th murderer executed in the United States in 1998, the 437th murderer executed since 1976. Oh my goodness. Jack, was that the wine? Okay, it's the cheese. You want the cheese, you can have the cheese. Mommy's got to do a show. Second female murderer executed in the United States since 1976. And I want to pause here. Females have... It's different when a female is executed, isn't it? Okay. I understand now. You can hear Jack's. Hold on. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. This dog. When females are executed, and don't get me wrong, there are mothers that unalive their children, their family annihilators as well. But it has a different effect on, I think, mothers, we have this, women, we're nurturers by nature, right? And the state even recognizes that they're killing a female, right? So it does have an effect, and that's why there's so little executed. I do believe that they just put them on death row and wait for them to pass naturally, because it's not a good look. She is the first murderer executed in Texas in 1988, 145th murderer executed in Texas since 1976, the first female. It's just crazy. Okay. This is the crime. Okay, let me check the chat really quick. I may be ignoring people if I'm not. Oh, look, there's nobody commenting. What a shocker. I'll get there, guys. Well, I'll be amazing one day. Okay. Between 2:30 and 4:30 a.m. on June 13th, 1983, Tucker, Danny Garnett, and James LeBrant left Tucker's residence after some partying. Tucker told accomplice LeBrant she wanted to go over to Jerry Lynn Dean's apartment to collect some money and intimidate him a little. Tucker secretly took the keys from Dean's wife, Shawn. 2 weeks later, Tucker had talked about offing Dean. Tucker later related that when she and Garrett entered the apartment bedroom, she put a pickaxe to Dean's head. Dean began begging for his life. Tucker then used the pickaxe 28 times and expressed every time she did that, she received gratification. Okay, I'm not going to read that part because it's just disgusting. Deborah Thornton was hiding under some sheets in the bedroom, and because the lights were on and Dean had said Tucker's name several times, Tucker and Garrett decided to kill her as well. LeBrant testified that after he was called into the apartment by Garrett, he heard a gurgling noise in the bedroom, walked back to the bedroom, and witnessed Tucker pull the pickaxe out of a person, smile, and struck it again. LeBrant then left the scene, but later helped Garrett dispose of Dean's cars. Later that evening, the bodies were discovered by a co-worker who came to check on Dean when he did not show up for work that morning. The pickaxe was found lodged in the body of Deborah. Tucker's execution created a media frenzy, which included nightly reports from Geraldo, an interview on CNN, Larry King Live, and live nationwide coverage from the prison at her execution. Her outgoing personality and religious conversion on death row even prompted televangelist Pat Robertson to request I'm not going to say that word. She was first, because I'll ruin it. I think that may be like, that's why I need a partner in crime. She was the first woman to be executed in Texas since 1863, and the only second woman to be executed in the United States since the reinstatement of the death penalty. It was a big deal. It was a very big deal. Her last words. Yes, sir. I would like to say to all of you, the Thornton family and Jerry Dean's family, that I am so sorry. I hope God will give you the peace with this. Baby, I love you, Ron. Give Peggy a hug for me. Everyone has been so good to me. I love all of you very much. I'm going to be face to face with Jesus now. Warden Baggett, thank you so much. You have been so good to me. I love all of you very much, and I will see you when you get there. I will wait. Wow. Texas Attorney General Dan Morrill's offers the following information on Karla Fay Tucker, who is scheduled to be executed after 6 p.m. Tuesday, February 3rd. And then they talk about the case. Sorry about the background noise, but he is getting his grub on. So basically she was indicted. Here's the thing. Tucker dies after apologizing despite... Tucker, who confesses her guilt in the slayings of a man of a woman. Tucker's 6 years, she's not. Okay. Basically, she committed a heinous crime. No one doubts that. No one says she didn't. It's awful. It's absolutely awful. But I believe that this woman changed who she was, because I believe that drugs and alcohol had a great effect on this woman's life, right? It makes you... I'm not excusing her murder, her crime, at all. Simply saying, I do believe that Karla Fay Tucker became a different person in prison. And Texas kills people like they change their underwear. It is insane. They're the #1 leading state of death penalty cases. But Karla Fay Tucker, I believe, became a different person. And I am not easy to fool when it comes to that, okay? Her statements read true. And it was very sad to see. So I'm going to show you a couple of videos of Karla's last interview, right? And who she became while she was sitting and waiting to be executed. Yikes. I know it's a difficult one, but we'll get through it. So let's see. Karla Fay Tucker, Forevermore, interview #1. I think that's what we'll do now. So give me one moment, please. I'm just going to go ahead and insert in here that I'm using this. I have to stop really quick, guys, because I want to make sure that I am not
one of the areas you
violating copyright. So I have to write really quick and put that on the screen. I apologize. If you could just give me a sec. Grips, I'm doing great. I don't recall seeing you before, so welcome to the channel. I do have to warn you that we are very particular on negativity. We are all about love and positivity here. So enjoy the show, and it's nice meeting you. How are you doing today? Oh, hey girl, it matters. Hello. Hey Faye, hope you're having a great day and blessed day. Yes, I am.
One of the areas you
Thank
really
you.
had to deal with is forgiveness. You've had to extend it and you've had to receive it. But there's a great freedom that comes with that. So many of us who aren't behind these bars and walls and plexiglass and
Just to catch up those that are now coming in, we are covering the Karla Fay Tucker case. She was convicted of a heinous murder and sentenced to death row in Texas. When she was on death row, she actually converted to Christianity. And I know that there are a lot of prisoners who do find God when they're in prison. And sometimes it's not true. This is Karla Fay turned into a completely different human being. And her execution actually affected the nation. And the people that took part in her execution, even her last walk, suffer to this day because they feel like they killed an innocent woman, even though she committed the crime. She knows she's guilty. It's just an amazing piece of criminal history, in my opinion. So that's what we're doing now, and right now we're watching an interview. So let's go.
and wire are trapped in unforgiveness. What's God taught you about forgiveness?
That, as you said, there's a freedom in it. When I was forgiven and I experienced that forgiveness, it freed me up inside to soar. You know, it freed me up inside to go higher and to go deeper with the Lord. But when we're holding unforgiveness, we're blocking communication and intimacy with the Lord in our own lives, and bitterness can start to take root in us. Well, when God forgave me, I think He used that forgiveness and that love to reach down inside of me and take every root of evil, every root of horror that was in me, and literally pull it up and get rid of it and go back in me and fill up with His love.
Karla, sometimes when people come through experiences like you did as a child, you can feel so trapped. You can feel like nobody really knows you. You can feel very alone. Then you come into a place where you're set apart from society, and in a way you're still alone. But God has done some amazing things to you. In 14 and a half years, you're not the same person you were when you came in here.
No, not even near the
Karla, one of the areas you've really had to deal with is forgiveness. You've had to extend
blocking communication and intimacy with the Lord
I'm so sorry.
in our own lives, and bitterness can start to take root in us. Well, when God forgave me, I think He used that forgiveness and that love to reach down inside of me and take every root of evil, every root of horror that was in me and literally pull it up and get rid of it and go back in me and fill up with his love.
Karla, sometimes when people come through experiences like you did as a child, you can feel so trapped. You can feel like nobody really knows you. You can feel very alone. Then you come into a place where you're set apart from society, and in a way you're still alone. But God has done some amazing things to you. In 14 and a half years, you're not the same person you were when you came in here.
No, not even near the same person.
We hear.
Do you see her face? Her smile? Her eyes? And I get that people are like, I found God. Ah, la, 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 la. This isn't that person. It affected everyone. And you can tell she's a different person. It's incredibly sad. And here's the thing. Karla wanted to die for what she did. Karla thought, I need to pay my life for the life that I took. Like, she admits it. But people became so impressed and moved and inspired by the way Karla was forgiven and forgave and tried and is doing her best to pay for what she did. And Texas executed this girl when they could have kept her in life forever. Like, not get out, not commute her sentence, but just move her off death row and put her, right? If they can't put Jodi Arias on death row, why did they do it to Tucker? Do you know what I mean?
So much about praising God in the midst of difficult circumstances. Has praise been a big part of what's allowed you to really exist in a free way spiritually in the midst of all of this chaos?
Oh, yes. To praise the Lord, because God inhabits the praises of his people. But to praise him, that's even a choice that we make too. It can't be a feeling that we have. It has to be a choice that we make to open up our mouth and release that praise to him, so that through that he can come in and do in our lives what he.
I'm going to move on because I do believe that this is getting quite spiritual. Bless your heart. It matters. Thank you. That's Texas. You're right. That is Texas. They'll kill first and ask questions later. And they have, I'm glad you're having a peaceful, quiet day, honey. The way that she's speaking, right? You can tell she's in it. She's in it and she's speaking. Now, I'm not trying to run a religious message here, but what my point is that not only did she convert, but you can tell through her mouth, through her words, she believes what she says, and she's witnessing to others, which is in of itself something that Christians believe is our responsibility, right? It's one of the bravest things that you can do. Witness to others. Give them the knowledge. And that's what she's doing. It's mind-blowing, actually, to think about. But I'm going to skip around because I don't want this to be about a religious message. I want you guys to see her as she changed. So just give me a sec. Okay, I have one called The Power of Forgiveness, the story of Karla Fay Tucker, and it's just a trailer. So we'll play that, and then I'm going to play Dr. Grande's View. You know how much I just adore that dude. Mercy. Give me a sec, guys.
Karla Fay Tucker. Here, still before her execution, in the prison where she remained for 14 years, before finally being given the fatal injection on the 3rd of February 1998. On the 13th of July 1983, while she was heavily under the influence of drugs, she and her friend Danny Garrett brutally murdered Jerry Dean and Deborah Thornton. Ron, Deborah's brother, who was very close to her, heard by telephone about the horrible death of his sister.
I come in from my job 5 o'clock in the evening after a hard day's work, and I get in and my phone rings, and the first thing I know, guy's on the phone saying, my dad's on the phone saying, hey, you need to come over to the shop. I'm like, what's up? He says, your sister's been murdered. I'm like, no, Sure enough, she was. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe they'd kill my sister. And I really couldn't believe it when I saw the pictures on the TV.
Pretty intense, right? Pretty intense. She's not afraid to admit that she believes in the high power. God is so good to us. There is nothing wrong with admitting that you believe in God. I know, I surely do. You're right, it matters. I believe in God and the universe. Alienated, I want you to know that you are an amazing friend and moderator, and I appreciate you, that you've been here from the rep. And to those, it's coming. Happy Valentine's Day. And to you, Alienated, especially. So now we're going to look at the Death Penalty USA thing with Karla Fay. It's going to be something I read, so forgive me if I make mistakes in reading. You know, like words that I don't want to execute myself. It's just, speaking of execution, sorry, it's kind of a bad example. But I rip up words, and I don't want to do that to you guys. I don't want to sound ridiculous, although I am. Give me a sec. Oh, you can't hear me. I was talking so much shut. Damn. Just kidding. I was just saying that you know, I feel that they could have commuted her sentence to the rest of her life in prison. Like, can you imagine a person like that who's truly transformed, helping other prisoners? Thank you, my friend. You rock. So let's listen to Dr. Grande, the Grande of doctors, tell us his opinion.
Can I analyze the case of Karla Fay Tucker? Just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video. only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe to my
He's not diagnosing, guys. He's just letting you know. He's not diagnosing.
channel, and consider supporting me on Patreon. I'll put the link
But don't forget to give him money.
to Patreon in the description for this video. So first I'll look at the background of Karla Fay Tucker. I'll move to the timeline of the crime.
That's
I'll
nice
put the
of you.
link to Patreon.
I have to-
in the description.
I have to pause once in a while because of YouTube service and guidelines. So it's almost like I get to talk complete, absolute shit. But sometimes I do believe this. I kind of agree with them. A lot of times I don't, though. So you can tell, can't you?
Description for this video. So first I'll look at the background of Karla Fay Tucker. I'll move to the timeline of the crime, and then I'll offer my analysis. Karla Fay Tucker was born in Houston, Texas on November 18, 1959. Her father, Larry, was a longshoreman, and her mother, Carolyn, was a stay-at-home mom. She would later come to believe that her real father was somebody with whom Carolyn had an extramarital affair. Tucker was the youngest of 3 sisters.
Okay, that's like way deep, don't you think? Like, what? Get out. That's like, okay, Dr. Grande. Get to it.
At age 8, Tucker started smoking cannabis and cigarettes. At age
Devil's lettuce. Cannabis. Do you guys remember when they were like, it's a gateway drug? If you smoke pot, you're going to be on heroin. Fact. Right? Now, doctors are like, hey, you need to smoke some weed and eat some CBD for your pain. What?
age 10, she was using heroin. Her parents would get divorced around
That's, sorry, I did not know that. Oh my God, I feel stupid now.
the same time. At age 12, she became sexually active. At age 14, she dropped out of the 7th grade so that
Thank
she could
you.
travel with her mother. Both Tucker and her mother became prostitutes.
See, that's awful. That's awful. And I didn't read her Wikipedia because I thought you guys like seeing videos more than being, read to, and sometimes I do too. But becoming prostitutes, her mother and her. What kind of childhood did this woman have? Can you imagine? Can you imagine at 10 being addicted to heroin or using heroin? Are you kidding? Dude, I was like, at 10 years old, I was acing swings.
While traveling as groupies with a number of bands, including the Eagles. At age 16, Tucker married, but that marriage would end several years later.
Surprise. She was married at 16. And keep in mind, he just said that she was a prostitute. So is he saying before she's 16?
When Tucker was 20, her mother died of a drug-related cause. She would eventually
Yes.
become friends with a number of bikers and was introduced to a man named Jerry Dean and his wife, Shawn Dean. This couple would introduce Tucker to a man named Daniel Ryan Garrett. He was 35 when Tucker was 21. This takes us to the timeline of the crime. At this
21 years old. Dude, when I was 20, turning 21, I went to a bar at midnight. Because I said, even though it's literally when 12:01 hit, I was like, I'm 21, mother effer. I want to be a...
point, Garrett is 37 and Tucker is 23.
Recordings just got back.
Oh, it's just so rude.
Hey, it's Dana from StreamYard.
Dana,
I'm so excited to
no,
announce.
go away.
On June 13, 1983, at 3 a.m. in Houston, Texas, Tucker and Garrett burglarized Jerry Dean's apartment as Dean was sleeping in that apartment. Tucker and Garrett were able to get into the apartment because Tucker had stolen the keys from Shawn Dean, who had just broken up with Jerry Dean. Not long before the burglary, Tucker and Garrett had been partying. They were both intoxicated on a number of substances, including alcohol, heroin, cannabis, methadone, Dilaudid, Percodan, and
Did he just say bilotted? No, he didn't. No, he didn't. That doctor did not just say bilotted.
when cannabis, methadone, Dilaudid,
I think he means dilaudid. I could be wrong, because I'm not a doctor. Dr. Grande.
Percodan, and
Good God. Can you imagine? I'm counting.
they were both intoxicated on a number of substances, including alcohol, heroin, cannabis, methadone, Dilaudid, Percodan, and a type of methamphetamine referred to as speed.
That's 8 drugs. And, not that I'm speaking from experience, but one negates the other. In other words, if you're doing speed and you do a downer, right? Like, wouldn't that be, it kind of cancels itself out. But 8 intoxicate. That's crazy.
They wanted to steal a motorcycle that Dean was restoring in his apartment. While committing the burglary, the pair entered Dean's bedroom, and Tucker sat on him. Dean grabbed Tucker to defend himself, and Garrett struck him in the back of the head with a ball-peen hammer. The ball-peen hammer had been in that same room. Garrett left the room for a few minutes to steal some motorcycle parts. Tucker remained in the room. Dean was severely injured, but not dead. He was making a gurgling sound. This bothered Tucker. She didn't like that noise, so she picked up a pickaxe.
Ah, do you guys get it? So basically what Dr. Grande is suggesting is that this man was injured. It's almost, I'm thinking of an animal, and please forgive me. Like if you see a horse, right? Remember in the old days when horses were hurt, they would put them out of their misery? I'm not excusing what she did, but it's starting to make sense, right? It's starting to make sense. It's not like she went in and just went wild like the press tried to say. No. Wow. Wowzers.
That was also in the room and started striking.
Whoa. So this guy kept a pickaxe in his bedroom. Huh. Weird.
Dean repeatedly. Garrett came back in the room and joined in the attack, and he is the one who delivered the final blow that would kill Dean.
But yet Tucker's the one that ended up on death row.
Garrett went back to stealing parts, and once again Tucker remained in the room. Tucker then noticed that there was another person in the room with her. Deborah Ruth Thornton had been hiding under sheets that were up against the wall. Thornton had been in an argument with her husband. She went to a party and decided to spend the night with Dean.
Oh, that's awful. That's awful. Wrong place, wrong time.
Tucker attacked Thornton with the pickaxe, but Garrett came back into the room and separated the pair. Tucker then continued to attack Thornton with the pickaxe and ultimately killed Thornton. She left the pickaxe in her body. A friend of Tucker and Garrett had been waiting outside. He had come into the apartment at some point, but then he left. He was convicted in connection with his behavior, but not for the murder. Tucker and Garrett left the apartment. The bodies of the 2 victims would be discovered by one of Dean's coworkers the next morning. Tucker and Garrett were arrested 5 weeks later after a friend of theirs helped the police tape a conversation during which the pair confessed.
So basically, they were like bragging to a friend.
Initially, Tucker was charged with murdering both Dean and Thornton, but the prosecutors would drop the charges related to Thornton.
Yeah, because she didn't murder the first person.
After Tucker testified against Garrett at his trial. In Tucker's murder trial, her defense called no witnesses, which represented an unusual interpretation of the phrase vigorous defense. The jury only deliberated for 70 minutes before convicting Tucker of murder. Not long after she was convicted, she would be sentenced to.
Whoa. Wow, that was fast. Did he just say 40?
The jury only deliberated for 70 minutes.
Oh, 70. That's an hour. Wait, this is math. 60 and 70. That's an hour and 10 minutes, right? I could be wrong. Math is voodoo to me. I want to point out this comment because this one right here, all the crap that she did and put through that went, right? By the age of 16. Sounds like she was groomed until she had enough and fought back. Right? Who did she have in her life as a good influence? Where were they? She was around bikers and men, and it sounds like violence, constant. Becoming a prostitute at a young age. 10, heroin. Where were her heroes? Where were the people to stop this woman, to stop this evil from growing inside her? I can't imagine. It just blows me away that a 10-year-old would go to heroin and a mother would get her into prostitution, because that to me is what it sounds like. So this person, Karla, had a hard upcoming. I mean, like one of the worst. She went out. Her lawyer would have gotten her off by bringing up her past as far as the drugs, these, and turned into prostitution. Why wasn't all that brought up, or was it? I don't know if it was. But see, here's the thing. Karla testified against another, and Karla actually felt like, hey, I did it. So it's like they had Karla's own words to use against her. But you have a very interesting question, and I will look that up. Yeah, I understand. I know what you mean. Like the mitigating factors that would keep the jury that would allow the jury to make a decision. In other words, they would introduce mitigating stuff like, hey, this girl was on heroin by the age of 10. Hey, the people that she hung out with were older men that knew better, that were criminals, that had a life of that, not her. She was impressionable. I'm not making an excuse for her, what she did. It was horrible, right? But why didn't they stop her? Right? 2 men. Why? One that came in and left the apartment. Why didn't they call 911 themselves? This woman had no good influence in her life. And you're watching what can happen. And she probably felt free for the first time in her life. Yeah. Yeah. She's hitting all of the people that hit her. She's hitting the mother. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's acting out what happened. And the things that she said that she felt during that experience were weird. It's just weird. 8 drugs. I can't even imagine that. I can't imagine.
For convicting Tucker of murder. Not long after she was convicted, she would be sentenced to death. Garrett was convicted and sentenced to death as well. He had liver disease and was treated in prison so he could live long enough for the state to kill him. So it was like a competition between the liver disease and the state to see who could kill Garrett first.
Oh, that's fun.
Liver disease would win in 1993. While in prison, Tucker started reading a Bible that she was given by a prison ministry program. She would say that at first she didn't know what she was reading, but then she found herself on her knees on the floor of her cell asking God to forgive her. She became a Christian in October of 1983. She married a prison minister named Dana Brown. Tucker appealed her sentence, saying that she was on drugs when she murdered the victims. She never would have committed the murder without the drugs. She claimed that
I totally believe that. I believe that had she not been under 8 different drugs, and also the influence of the men that took her there, I believe that this would not have happened.
She was now reformed. Many people started to support Tucker in her efforts to avoid execution. Just to name a few: Pope John Paul II, Pat Robertson, Newt Gingrich.
Did he just say Pope John Paul II? No, he didn't. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
Just to name a few: Pope John Paul II.
Oh, yes, he did. Pope John. What does that tell you? Right? This isn't, Pope John Paul just didn't come out and he just doesn't, go out and hold up signs like, don't do it, because no. That's incredible. The Pope asked, please, don't do this. And America went, nope.
Pat Robertson, Newt Gingrich, who was Speaker of the House at that time, Thornton's brother, Ronald Carson, and even the warden of the prison, who said that Tucker had likely been reformed after 14 years on death row.
She was reformed. There's no likely.
Was rejected.
I just received
you naughty people.
They are federally legal.
On February 2, 1998, Tucker was transported by airplane from the Mountain View unit, where she had been imprisoned, to the Huntsville unit in preparation for her execution.
I don't know if you guys are familiar with the execution process, but I can tell you it is a very well orchestrated event. And they transfer them from the row to the death chamber building. It's weird that they took a plane. I don't know why. I've never heard that before. Usually they just take a truck. It could have been because, I bet you know what? I bet you they flew her because of all of the controversy. Like, they were afraid that people would stop the van. You know what I'm saying? Stop that transport. We see it every day, people committing murders and out with 4 to 7 years. Thank you. And what was that business about they were competing with this guy's disease and death row? What? No. So they flew her, right? So what happens is they get them in the cell. The cell is made up of like a normal cell. They give you a piece of paper if you'd like to write your last words or whatever. They offer you your last meal. You used to be able to order whatever you wanted. Until one asshole, excuse my language, decided to order steak, lobster, butterfly shrimp, fish, buckets of chicken. Like this dude, and didn't eat 1 ounce of it. So Texas said, guess what? We're cutting off special requests. You will get what everyone else gets for your last meal. They offer her her last meal. She is allowed 1 interview, and then she's allowed to have, a minister come in, give her her last rites, and then they do the walk. And in the walk, a card began to cry. And Karla told her, it is okay. And then she was strapped down. Okay, I'm going to stop because I'm getting emotional. I think we should just abolish the death penalty. And I know that I say that children, the crimes against children, they deserve, in my opinion, they're the ones that deserve it. But I think it's just fair to just say no more death penalty. I mean, sorry.
She was allowed to select some of the people who were permitted to watch the execution. She chose her husband, one of her sisters, a friend, and Ronald Carson. Again, he was Thornton's brother. Other people, of course, were there to watch as well, including her lawyer.
Thornton's brother, is that the person that was in the crime, that committed the crime? I'm so confused.
The warden and Thornton's husband. Then Texas Governor George W. Bush refused to issue a 30-day reprieve.
Oh, that Bush. George W. Bush. Surprising that he would say no. I'm surprised. Did he spell it right? Did he spell no as in potato?
This was his only independent power. He couldn't actually prevent her execution indefinitely, but he was not even willing to use this limited power. On February 3, 1998, the next day, the execution was ready to proceed. Tucker was asked if she had any last words. She said, "Yes, sir. I would like to say to all of you, the Thornton family and Jerry Dean's family, that I am sorry. I hope God will forgive you and give you peace with this." She told everybody that she loved them. She thanked the warden. She said she was going to be face-to-face with Jesus now.
This last statement blows my mind. It absolutely blows my mind. And your comment, it matters that they hid what they were doing. I totally believe that. With the airplane ride, you bet. You bet. Because in that video, remember the one that I showed you the preview of, where there were hundreds of people? They were holding signs that said, forget the injection, do her with the axe. And I get it. People were angry. But those people didn't realize that she had changed into a completely different person. I am normally against evil. I'm against evil. But I see that the evil has left this woman, in my opinion.
She would conclude by saying, "I will see you all when you get there. I will wait for you." After this, 38-year-old Karla Fay Tucker was executed by lethal injection.
Amen.
She was pronounced dead at 6:45 p.m. Now moving to my analysis. Even though Tucker did not have any criminal history, it did appear as though she committed several crimes and was never held accountable. For example, she had a long history of drug use.
She had not been convicted of any crimes before this. And using her drug usage against her is like a slam, in my opinion. If they didn't bring it up in trial, and she asked for a new trial based on they didn't provide that, her lawyer didn't provide that evidence, saying that is kind of rude, in my opinion, but I get that Dr. Grande is doing his analysis. I think the drugs and her life pushed her to that moment, right? She didn't know anything other than evil from a child up. It was like she was born and trained to be evil.
And She had been involved in a previous altercation with Dean where she punched him in the face when he was wearing glasses.
Oh boy.
He had to go to the hospital and have glass removed from his eye.
Ooh, she got him good.
The nature of the homicides was, of course, heinous, and other information about the crime did not help her case either. For example, 2 weeks prior to the murder, she talked about killing Dean because he had defaced photographs of her mother and parked a motorcycle in her apartment. The motorcycle leaked oil onto the floor. After
I'm going to read this comment. Forgive me. I have to switch screens because my computer hates me. Well, they did it. They didn't do their homework, did they? To see that somebody had changed and became better than the one they met years ago when she came in there. And that's exactly my point, and it was everyone else's point, and I'm sure the Pope said the same thing. Right? The Pope said the same thing. Mercy.
the murders, she would claim that she had multiple orgasms with each blow of the pickaxe.
See, I'm not sure if this is true. And the reason I say that is because, one, keep in mind, she was under the influence of 8 different drugs. And a lot of those drugs would desensitize her in any feeling. Okay? I think she said that to be like aggressively, yeah, this is what I did. Right? Like, as in to make it sound worse than it, I mean, it was awful, but make it even more horrible. I don't think her body reacted that way. I'm sorry. It's just my opinion.
When killing Dean and Thornton, Tucker never denied committing the murders, so her actual guilt was never in question. Tucker also had discussions about killing various illegal drug lab managers. This made it seem as...
Oh, wow. Tucker wanted to go like Breaking Bad and like kill or hurt or stop drug dealers, drug manufacturers. Why? Because she was on them and they made her do horrific things, in my opinion.
Though she was only at the beginning of her homicidal career. As far as mental health, there's not really much information available.
That was lame. Dr. Grande, you and I need to have a sit down. Really? Her homicidal career? What? You got me messed. That's just messed up to say. I'm sorry. And I'm not just saying that for Karla's sake. I'm saying, what? Her homicidal career. Slam, slam, slam.
Available here. Again, no witnesses were called at her trial. A mental health professional was called for the penalty phase, but didn't have a lot to say. The clinician reported what Tucker had told her about the drug use in her childhood. The clinician would also say that it's unlikely Tucker received any sexual gratification from committing the murders.
See? I believe that she didn't. And I believe that she said that because I think she wanted to make it sound worse. She wanted to add salt to the wound. Right? She was caught. She was angry. And she felt the person deserved it.
Or from anything that happened in her life. So she never had that. Some people thought this was a dig at Tucker's past lovers.
No, I think it's a dig against you, from you, saying that this was the beginning of her homicidal career.
I don't think that's what was intended here. I think the mental health professional was just trying to make her point.
Recordings just got better.
I'm going to make my point.
It's Dana from StreamYard.
Dana, you and I got
to
kick
As far
rocks.
as personality, it's not clear if we're seeing Tucker's real personality after she was in prison. Maybe this was an act.
Okay, a lot of people say that. A lot of people say, she's putting on an act. It ain't true. She's not really Christian. Delphi Clark Jason, hey boo. What? Maggie May's in the house? Hold the phone. Hey, what's up, Maggie May? She was also using LSD. Yeah, 8 different drugs. Ah, Maggie, thank you for coming. It's always so great to see you. My people, my people. Hey, fam. Yeah. What do you think, May? Do you think you believe that I mean, do you really think that she deserved to be executed? Do you believe that her change was real? 8 at once. That's what he said. I counted. I don't know. I say I'm not good at math, but I counted. I'd use my fingers. And there were 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 drugs that she was under the influence of. I know, right? At once. Like, what? I didn't even think that was possible. I mean, not that I've tried, but man. Yeah, that's the question I have for you people today. And I know I haven't shown a lot of her change. I'm going to show a couple more videos of her. Yes, her change was real. And that's what affected the United States. That's why the Pope got involved, and that is why they flew her to her death chamber, because they knew if they got on the ground that they would be stopped. Because the public did not want her executed. They wanted her sentence to be commuted to life in prison for the rest of her life. She would have never left. And she would have done amazing work, in my opinion. I don't believe this was an act. Your last words, your declaration, right? About God? Truly, if that was an act? Come on, don't you think that her last words wouldn't have been what they were? Because it was all about love and forgiveness.
Again, there's really no way to know. She claimed that her life had been a succession of last-minute decisions, all of which were made without fear of consequences.
Fact. Becoming a prostitute, using heroin at the age of 10. Her mother was a prostitute. What choice did she have? Evil raised her. Evil trained her, and evil set her go.
She described herself as crazy, violent, bad, and rotten. It seems reasonable to believe that Tucker was low in conscientiousness, low in agreeableness, and high in neuroticism. But it's hard to know.
High in neuroticism. I don't think that this man is taking he's telling us 8 different drugs, prostitution, all of these things about Karla, but yet he has the nerve to say that. It's like he's not taking into account what she went through, what she was raised as. Where were the people where were Karla's heroes? Where were the teachers? Where were the people, other people in her life? There weren't any.
What her level of openness to experience would be, or her level of extroversion. This case drew attention mostly because of Tucker's execution rather than the actual crimes that were committed. It reignited the debate over the death penalty. Many death penalty proponents had the view that if a man could be executed for a homicide, then a woman could be as well. They were thinking that fair is fair. They were surprised that this case was getting so much attention. They viewed this case as exposing sexism.
Nope. And here's the thing, that's what I wanted to also talk about. When death row, when they execute women, it is serious, and it's not sexism. As a society, from the time that women became women, we are nurturers by nature. To do these acts is so foreign, and it's against what we are, that it shocks people. And actually executing a woman is killing that, right? It's not sexist. They realize it's hard to do. Because it suggests come on. It's, I was privy to an execution, and I actually called the governor. I did. I was like, that's it. I put him on speed dial. Look, check it out. I'm going to call this dude. And I did. There was a woman, the last woman, I believe she was even not the last person, but close to the last person executed in Virginia before they abolished the death penalty. This woman arranged a murder for her husband and stepson. The guy that did it didn't get life, he got life in prison. She got the death penalty, and she didn't even kill anyone. Teresa, her first name. So, on the day of her execution, People said, please call the governor, ask for a stay. And I kept calling him and she kept taking my messages. I said, I want to talk to the governor. He's busy right now. Can I take a message? Yeah, please don't kill her. Please don't kill her. She didn't kill anyone. And they did kill her. Isn't that nuts?
In the sense that so many people were against Tucker's execution, but those same people really didn't say a lot when men were executed. I think this case highlights how people form and maintain beliefs. Sometimes it's really just a matter of focus. For instance, if somebody focuses on the terror experienced by Garrett and Thornton, if one can empathize with them, Tucker's execution seems to make sense. If one focuses their empathy on Tucker, obviously the death penalty does not seem to make sense. The reality is that it's hard to kill people who are perceived as nice and defenseless. Tucker did not seem like an ongoing threat, whereas some people might look at a male convicted murderer, like Ronnie Lee Gardner, for example, and think this guy's going to offend again because he's inherently dangerous. Also in the area of fairness, this case exposes how the process for deciding who is executed and who is not seems to be based on fantasy and emotion rather than logic and reason. The reasons that people give for and against the execution of a specific person are all based on subjective observations or
Can we get back to Karla?
factors that may or may not have contributed to the crime. For example, how attractive someone is, how sorry they are.
Okay, I'm dumping this. You guys, I mean, he gave us a great kind of thing about Karla, right? He showed us that Karla had a horrible upbringing. From an early age, was introduced to drugs, sex, marriage, not counting the divorce, domestic violence, and the SA. This is all she knew until she could not take it anymore and did what she had to do to save her life, and they took hers. I'm not sure if she was in a situation where she was in defensive mode, but it sounds to me that she was in a situation where she saw someone suffering and decided to end that person's suffering. And then when that happened, she realized the witness. So, in my opinion, she is 100% guilty of killing that person. And she knows it. Yeah. So I'm going to show right now a video of Karla. And I want you guys to be, once I publish the video, say what you feel. Say how you feel. Say, no, even if you disagree, I would love to hear about it. And if you think, how do you feel about females being executed? How do you feel about that? Do you believe it's sexist? I don't. It's just my opinion. Do you think that Karla could have been commuted? And I believe that she should have been. And I'll bring up a specific horde case that one thing was done. This man was killed 3 different times by Jodi Arias. She killed him 3 different ways. And Arizona put her in life for the rest of her, no death, just put her in life for the rest of, just prison. She'll never get out. And they couldn't do that for Karla, who committed a heinous crime, yet not as bad as Jodi's. Because then afterwards, Jodi got on the stand and killed him again. Called him a pedo. Right? In her trial, where people were deciding whether she should get death or not. This case, it's a very sensitive and a very emotional case, and that's why I'm showing it, because I believe Texas did the wrong on this one. And you guys know me, I'm against evil. I am against it. But I believe this person was raised to be evil, committed an evil act, and then changed, because once she got in prison alone, away clean, it wasn't she changed. It was who she became, because that's what she was supposed to be from birth. Right? So let me get that video going for you. Forgot to press play. Naughty. So this is interview 2 of what we got to see earlier. Let me get past this.
All of it is wonderful, but just what the Lord's doing in your life and all of it.
God delivered me from death to life, bro.
Amen. Amen.
What he's been doing in my life right now is, whenever I first accepted the Lord, for so many years, truly the joy of the Lord was my strength. And it was just like this fire that raged, the fire of joy that raged in me, like a feast at the banquet table, a feast of joy with the Lord.
Is it not the sick and troubled? If you believe in Christianity and the second in Christ, right? Did he not come to save the sick and those that need it? And isn't that what she was? Right?
And for about 8 years, it was like this humongous feast of joy, and then all of a sudden, God put me in a situation where I had to grow up into, this is going to sound really weird, but grow up into tribulations. Mm-hmm. Does that sound kind of like taking me from my comfort zone and putting me in the lion's den and telling me it's time to go deeper, go deeper with me in other areas, because you can.
I have a guest. What's up, girl?
Hey, girl.
How you doing? Are you watching what I'm putting on about Karla?
Yes, this is the one that you were just talking about.
We were just talking about that. How did your stream go?
It was good. I
Good.
messaged you afterwards. Me and Garnett,
All right.
we made a group chat. So
Okay.
when you get
I'll
off
catch
of
it.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, Red Bull Coffee and Crime, Lexi and I, have squashed our beef, and we both realized that we were being pitted against each other because another creator wanted us to keep the focus off of him and off of the case of Kyron Harmon. We both we disagree about the case. However, we are not enemies, and we are working together. So that's how this stands. Right, girl? I apologized for the mean things I said about her. She did the same. We took videos down. So that's your PSA message. Okay.
Squashed.
Yes, squashed. How do you feel about this? Don't you?
I just started watching, so I didn't. I just saw that you were live. So
Yeah.
I need to
Catch up.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll just catch you up to where we are right now. She converted her life to Christianity. And the thing about Karla is a lot of people find Christ in prison, right? You hear it all the time. Mm-hmm. However, Karla was raised in such a horrible, evil raised this child. At 10 years old, she was on heroin, and she was by 16, she had been a prostitute with her mother. Oh. She knew nothing but evil. And then she committed an evil act. And she murdered someone, and she was put on death row for it. While on death row for 14 years, she, it says, yeah, what's up? While on death row, she converted, and it became so apparent that this is the person, when she went on death row, this is the person who she was born to be. She finally became alive in it. Instead of the evil that raised her, it was now good that overcame her. And people were upset. They did not want this woman executed. So instead of driving her to the death chamber, they actually put her on a plane and because I know it in my heart. I believe that if she had been driven, that it would have been stopped. The people were they did not want her to die. They did not want her. And she could have been commuted to life. And I compare her case to Jodi Arias. If Jodi Arias can kill someone 3 times, was what she did, and she was sentenced to life, why can't you do that with Karla?
We were just talking about this the other day too.
Yeah. So I'm going to finish playing her interview here. She's converted, and she's talking about changing, and it's quite moving.
She did
reach out to people with the joy of the Lord, and let Him touch them through that. But there's, I don't even know how to explain it right now. Wow. Right now, there's a way that we can reach people through tribulations, that just like the ministry that you guys have there's inner healing and restoration. And until you've been through that yourself, you just can't minister that to others, because the Lord said, comfort others wherewith ye have been comforted yourselves. Mm-hmm. And so until we've really been through I'm talking about the fire, till He's turned that fire up on us and caused us to go through it so that we could go to a deeper level with Him. And that's what He has done in my life just recently with my stomach situation and being in my room for a while. And it was like I was in the wilderness, and I had shared with y'all, but I was by no means dry. I mean, it wasn't a dry place, because there's always a well of living water bubbling over no matter what, because circumstances don't dictate my joy. So the joy bubbles over no matter what. But had a really hard time with that situation. And the Lord had to say, I'm in there with you. What is it? Karla, I am right in there with you. And are people seeing you gripe and complain about it?
So I get that this is a very heavy religious message, and it doesn't show the actual everyday life of Karla and what she was doing and how she felt and was received by people. You know what? My chat, straight up, StreamYard hates me. It won't show me. When I watch replay, I'm like, oh my God, there are a million comments that I didn't read, that I didn't highlight. It's crazy.
Yeah, because when I first came in to watch you, I was like commenting, but I was
didn't see it.
Can she even see it?
Thank you, StreamYard. Setting it up. Maybe StreamYard's like, I remember when you guys were enemies, so.
Right.
Let's keep it. Yeah. So I'm going to show you one more interview. I tried to find the one with her last, because there was one last one that was very emotional she did before. And then
dying though, or
is she what?
Did she end up dying? Like, did they end up?
Yeah, they executed her. Oh. And remember I told you the guard that executed her, a tear went down his cheek, and she looked at him and set on her walk and said, it's okay. I will see you again. We will meet again in heaven. And that dude quit. He quit. And he had witnessed done the last walk, over 100 people. And he did an interview, and he said, I went home, I had panic attacks. He said it mentally destroyed him to walk Karla. Like, he felt so guilty. Okay, so I think I've played this one. Where's the sound? Come on. Oh, this sounds really bad. Why is it so bad?
I can't hear it.
I know.
Mine did that earlier on live too. I don't know why.
Let's see. Yeah, looks set to go ahead. Ooh, let's hear the victim's side.
Huh?
This is the brother of the victim that she killed. Can you hear it?
Can I turn up my volume?
Actually, if you all push that down and set it on the ground, you get the same effect.
Yeah, a little bit. Why don't y'all get to the point?
Carlson Davis Thornton is complete. Her killer has been sent to the place we're all going to go sometime.
Oh, wait a minute. Did he just say the killer has been sent to where we all going to go sometime? Does he mean heaven?
Right? That's what I was about to say. So,
wow.
This person, did she mean heaven or hell? I mean...
Yeah, no, that we are going to go to. Does this dude plan on going to hell? Because I'm not.
Right?
I think he meant heaven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. My wife already is there.
See?
She will deal with Karla Fay Tucker. I promise you, it won't be pretty.
Everything in heaven is pretty. In my opinion. He's angry. I get it.
I want to say to every victim in the world, demand this. Don't ask for it. Demand this. This is your right.
Is he talking about demand the death penalty?
I am so lost at what he's talking about.
I get he's the victim of one of it says husband of victim. Okay, so he was Deborah's victim. This is the person that Karla did murder. Straight up, she was hiding and she witnessed the murder of another one. So she was hiding and then Karla murdered her. So I get his anger and his frustration, and he has every right to be angry. But it's weird because he's saying things, I think he believes that she did change, that she did convert.
Yeah.
You know?
"14 and a half years ago, Karla Fay Tucker exploded my family.
It wasn't just Karla. It was Karla, 2 other dudes, and the influence of 8 different drugs, and the past of being a prostitute at the age of 10 through 16, and being on heroin, and not having any positive influence in her life, and I am not excusing her crime. But that girl was trained to be evil. There was no hero in her life, no teacher, no CSD, nothing.
Yeah.
That's what drove her. And I'm not excusing it. It was evil at its worst. But I believe she converted, and that evil... I believe Karla was born to be good. Because that's who she became when she was free of all of these elements that made her evil.
Yep.
Right?
14 and a half years later, she brought my family back together again. I have nothing but sympathy and sorrow for her family. They are now going through what we have been through. I want to give a lot of due and a lot of credit to the Kellys for pioneering this. I want to especially, and I cannot emphasize this enough, I want to especially thank Justice for All, an organization for victims. Those are the people that don't have any rights when it comes to what happens with a criminal. They help victims. What they did for me, I cannot begin to tell you. There is no good day for a human being to die. This was not fun. And yet, it was necessary. If you can take a message back with you to anyone who wants to hear it, it is that the first crime, that is what we need to work on. The death penalty is merely an answer. It is a tear in the fabric of society.
Okay, that comment right there confuses the hell out of me. It is a tear in the fabric of society. A lot of states have abolished the death penalty because, and it's true, Lexi, it is a fact that Texas has killed innocent people. Yeah. And they find out after the fact. That should be enough to shut Texas down. But they are number one. They are the leading state in death penalty cases and executions.
I like that you acknowledge that the family lost somebody as well.
Yes, I get that. Yeah. He is a victim, and he feels it, and he has every right to say, good. I'm glad that she's gone because she murdered his wife. I get it, but my whole thing is why execute her when she's obviously why not just life? Yeah.
When a murder happens, the death penalty is the thread and needle to sew it back together again.
I don't believe that. I'm sorry. As much as this man has suffered, I don't believe that. I think that if we have to use it, it should be against people who commit crimes against children.
I was about to say that. I think if we are to use the death penalty, there needs to be, for sure, evidence that this person,
right.
And it's against a child or
yeah. And in Karla's trial, they didn't give the mitigating circumstances of what she was going. Girl, she was on 8 different drugs when she committed that crime.
And
8.
How old was she again?
Oh my gosh, in her 20s, early 20s. 20. I think she was 21 or something like that. I mean, she was young, but her influence was nothing but evil. And she was with men who were in their late 30s.
Starting drugs at such an early age, they say that your mind stays at that age. And so,
that's true.
So, her mother doing that to her, she's, she doesn't.
Yeah. And then her mother died too, so she had to deal with that, right? This Karla, but that wasn't introduced into her trial. So it's I think it would have maybe turned out differently, although the murder was vicious, but her last statement before she dies is, "I'm sorry, and I hope this gives you peace," because she knows she did it. It's so sad.
It's so hard.
Yes.
A murder cannot go unanswered. A heinous crime like this cannot go unanswered. Yes.
Tell me what your reaction is to her apology.
She finally said my wife's name. Took her 15 years to do it. She said it on her deathbed because she knew if she did not say that, I know the Lord wouldn't take her in at all.
I have a problem with that, dude. But I get his anger.
He was satisfied. I also think it was staged.
Oh my gosh.
I think she was told to say that.
By the Lord. Okay, now I'm mad. Hold on.
She just told us that she hoped we could get some peace from this.
Oh God, I'm so mad.
She said that to both my family and to Jerry Dean's family.
When they have their last statements, they do write it down. They do write it down. But I don't believe that it was staged.
No, who's going to tell her, hey, make sure you say this? She's about to die, so what
I've heard, what I've heard an innocent dude say?
What?
His wife that lied on the stand and got him because she said that he caught the house on fire and killed their children, which was not true. He lied. It said that he went in and tried to save them. That was the lie that he told on the lie detector test, and he failed it. And it was his pride. He wanted people to know that he tried to save his children when he didn't. That was his only sin. He got sentenced to death. His wife had the nerve to show up. And you know what he said to her? Fuck you. The entire statement was, I can't believe you did this to me. You can burn an HE double, you know what I mean? He went off. So, no, it's not staged. They are their last words.
Yeah, exactly. What does it matter if, oh my God.
Right, what does it matter? Well, okay, so let's go that way. If it was staged, it gave him peace, right? So what's the? Mm-mm.
But who is she staging it for? Like, what is she getting out of it? She's about to die.
Yeah. Your last words, your last declaration are just—it's like proven to be. Law enforcement even consider it true. So.
Hate everybody in your comment section, but it's not popping up. So hey, Lucky Reed.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Lucky, this girl is funny. This girl is. Her and I have the same sense of humor. I love it. It's so good to see you, Lucky. I am not trying to say that this guy doesn't have a right, but that stage thing, I'm sorry, I just don't agree with. And I would say that about anyone else saying anything on there. I've heard a guy. You know what? I've heard a guy say on his last words, "I want to fire my lawyer needs to be fired." That was his last words. Like, yes. And then one guy said, "I was supposed to get spaghetti and I got SpaghettiOs. I want the press to know." Like, right? Like, so come on. I don't believe this was staged. I believe she said it because it was to give them peace.
And do you think you have some peace?
Yes.
See? He has peace.
We'll be in tomorrow without the name Karla Fay Tucker stuck in our face every day. I know y'all will be doing it for a couple, 3 days. This will be hashed and rehashed 1,000 times.
Because he knows it was it affected the country. People did not want this. They wanted her to be commuted to life because they realized it was real. There are people who fake it, but Karla lived it real.
Lucky Reed said, at such a young age. I guess that's what it called. What's that? Prefrontal cortex?
Yes.
Cortex.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're right. When you get on drugs at such a young age and then you stop, you are at emotionally the age that you started.
Yeah.
Because it stunts that growth. And heroin. That is crazy to me. At 10.
People.
10 years old.
But the questions about her guilt have been answered. I no longer have to worry about Karla Fay Tucker ringing my doorbell.
Oh my God. Just come on.
Okay.
On July 20th.
How would she ring her doorbell if she's commuted to life in prison? See? I get this guy's angry.
But I don't understand, like...
Yeah. Like, I get it. She gave him peace. When she lived in prison, she didn't have one infraction. She helped others. Like, you know. I think she even wrote the family. And like apologized.
22nd of the year 2003.
She like sent
Dana Brown can now go write his book and make some money. I'm sure that's why he started all this.
Won't that put it more in your face, Mr. Thornton?
Miss Lowry wrote a book. I've never read it.
Use the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back.
I don't recommend reading it for anyone. The life of a killer should never be glorified.
The life of a killer isn't glorified if you do it factually. It actually educates people.
This day belongs to Deborah Ruth Davis Thornton. That's with an N, folks.
And I agree.
Don't forget it.
I get it.
Victims are too often forgotten.
That is true.
I am happy to see all of you here. But you're all not here because my wife was killed. You're all here to celebrate a murderer, a pickaxe murderer. People have sided with that woman. People have claimed friendship and bragged about it, just as she bragged about killing my wife.
I'm not aware of any bragging. I know that she confessed.
I've never understood that, and I never will.
He's just angry,
Please,
and
folks,
I get it.
remember, there are victims in every crime.
Amen.
Not all of them want to stand up here and talk to you. Not all of them want to be as vocal as I am. But I promise you, it doesn't hurt any less.
She asked for forgiveness. Do you forgive her? Do you forgive her, Richard?
I've said before and I'll say it again. My religion says to forgive, turn the other cheek. I'm not a perfect man. I have tried very hard. I still cannot do it. I think her words
Wow.
were staged.
Oh my
Do you not think
gosh.
They were heartfelt.
It's not enough. It's not enough. And I get that. There are some murderers where you just want to, it's so bad, like Tommy Lynn Sells. That's a great example. Yes. What Tommy Lynn Sells did was absolutely 100% evil in its worst form.
Me and Faye actually did that was like 2 hours long.
Yeah, I know, but we talked about like everybody, right? We had it down. Tommy Lynn Sells was just an absolute monster. And he claimed to kill over 100 people. They think he killed close to 30, but then he claimed 70. At any rate, that dude was like, I get that, but her words weren't staged. Mm-mm. Like, it's weird because he's a victim and I'm an advocate, right? But I truly believe that Karla Fay got kind of screwed. Yes, she killed this person. Yes, it was horrible. But being sentenced to prison for the rest of her life would be a fair and just instead of what happened to her.
And how did she murder the...
It was with a pickaxe. Yes, it was very violent. It was. And Karla Fay had the nerve to say in her, and I believe she did it just to make it more horrid, she said that she had gratification downstairs and you know where every time she did it. I don't believe that because Karla was on 8 different drugs. There's no way that she had any feeling anywhere. No. But she did it. She confessed, and I don't see why they couldn't have commuted her sentence.
I never did, and I never will.
Well, what I'm about to say is very heartfelt. This was not something that was easy to do.
Oh, by the way, I love her hair.
A lot of emotions today over this. This was right. I do feel peace over this. As she was dying, I did ask God to have mercy on her soul.
There you go.
The right thing to do. And her dying was also the right thing to do.
And Karla felt that way. Karla did feel that way. She said she deserved it. And she felt that her life, for the life she took, was fair. And in her last words, she said, I hope this brings you peace. I hope that God delivers you peace for this. Like, this is a life for a life. So no, I don't believe it was staged. I think that's just an angry victim, and I get it.
I cannot forgive her, but I have asked God to do that.
See, that's fair.
Questions here?
Yes, I will.
I understand it's hard to forgive, but these are Christians that obviously are really into, God.
They're upset. They're angry. I get it. But for her to say, I asked God to forgive her, that is, in my opinion, like the nicest thing to say. Yeah. Really,
Lucky Reese says, was it a retaliation murder?
No. It was well, actually, there was something suggesting that the person had dumped oil on her carpet. And she went over there, and the initial was robbery because he had weird, I can't remember if it was wheels or whatever in his apartment. So when they broke in to steal things, they went into his room, and his pickaxe was there. Because, that's where you keep your pickaxe.
That's so weird.
But a man, one of the dudes that she was with actually hurt that man to the point where he was dying and he was suffering. And Karla killed him to put him out of his misery. And then saw a witness hiding and then went stupid on that witness. So she is guilty. See, they didn't convict her on that first guy that she put out of her misery. And there's a reason for that, right? Yeah. But the second one is what she was convicted on and sentenced to death row. So, yeah.
Did the person she was with...
Yes, he got death row, but check this out. He was suffering from, I think, kidney or some other disease. So basically, they were like fighting whether if he died, they were waiting. He was either going to die of that or he was going to be executed. And he died of the disease instead of being executed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But I've heard of people on death row being commuted to life in prison. I mean, Mark's Polly Class's killer, he's on death row, and California has said, no, we're not killing anybody. So basically, he's been commuted. Scott Peterson was commuted. Like, what?
Yeah.
And this woman, but I understand. I want everyone to get this. I understand the victim's statements. I understand their anger, and they have a right to be. They didn't get to see everyday Karla in prison. They didn't get to see her conversion. They didn't get to see it like, a lot of people did. So I get this. And they have every right to say they're angry.
I agree with you. Like, they have that right, and they should be angry. But I wonder if they ever look back and think of, how she grew up and, like, take any of that in.
Right. I know. And a lot of people will say, well, drugs is no excuse. Well, we're not just talking about drugs.
Yeah.
This woman was raised by evil and trained to be evil in every sense. A prostitute between 10 and 16.
That is horrible.
Can you imagine? And her mother was one too. So it was like they were,
It's just like that. We were talking about Nico Jenkins.
Yes.
He was raised, it's sad.
It is. It's sad. But I think abolishing the death penalty would be a good thing for us, especially for killing innocent people. But Karla, I don't believe it was an act. Yeah. And that's why I'm featuring her case. Because I believe people can change. People can change. It's my opinion. And if you disagree, please comment. I'm interested in how you think and what you feel about this.
We had a weekend together. We had a great weekend. We went shopping. We planned on having facials done at Foley's later that week, which we never got to do, unfortunately.
You saw her that night?
Yes, I did.
So she was with her the last night.
All for me.
Yeah.
Questions?
I just want to know how Bucky felt.
Bucky doesn't have any comment. Of all the people affected by this crime, of all the people hurt by this murderess, my son has been hurt the worst. He hopes for...
That's her son. I didn't realize that.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't realize that. So basically Karla killed a mother. And, oh, by the way, this woman actually wasn't supposed to be there. She was in the wrong place at the wrong time. She decided last minute to go over to this dude's house. Like, she was going to have other plans, but then she's like, no, I'm going to go over here. Like, wrong place, wrong time. She wasn't even supposed to be there.
Peace. He hopes the nightmare stops. He prays for the same forgiveness for her that my daughter prays for. No difference. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
That is so sad.
Just some pictures I'm going to show you of her. This is after she converted. This was her when she was arrested. She spent 14 years on death row, then converted her life to converted into Christianity, and caught the attention of the entire world because she changed for the better. Please, if you have any comments, feel free, after this video is published, to go ahead and leave your comment. Exactly, she was damaged in multiple aspects of her childhood, and it wasn't introduced in her trial. And
that's what should have been.
Yeah.
It should have been. That should have been funny.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe life in prison. Who knows?
Yeah, it's one of a kind. But look at Lucky hitting it. She's getting it with the background. She gonna do Burning Man in a minute. Stoned but not alone. What's up, Hollywood? Good to see you, brother. He's so cool. He is so cool. I had him up one time and we just went crazy talking. He's got such a great personality. Dude, you are just amazing. I love having you on. Thank you for coming. Yeah, and he's great. He's great. Yeah, what a case, right? So I think I'll just close with a song that I think is appropriate for this, for Karla. I encourage everybody, everything that I showed, I'm going to link in the description. And if you agree or disagree or how you feel about this, please feel free to comment. You won't be judged. I would love to hear your thoughts. We would love to hear what you have to say. Do you believe that she converted? And do you believe, if so, that she still deserved the death penalty? Do you think if she lived, that would have been enough for the family? You know, that kind of thing. So it's just something to open your mind and think about. And, thanks. You're welcome. No, thank you, dude. Thank you. Having you on it's great. Getting it in my kitchen. She's doing that run and dance in her kitchen. Girl, you are funny. Huh?
I said when you get off, check your Facebook.
Okay, I will. You got it. Oh, you too. I'm gonna close right now with a song dedicated to this case.
And everybody, please subscribe, like the video.
Oh, thank you.
Go ahead and subscribe, share her videos. Let's help.
Yes. Let's get up there. Let's get everybody in and up. Because we are about positivity, we are about cases, and I'm going to start covering a lot of missing children cases, not so much focusing on the one case that I did. I am going to open that up to everyday missing children, and my goal is to picture at least once a day, even if it's a five-minute video, a picture of the information of a missing child. I think that's very important that we get that and share that and get that out there, show their faces. And I owe that to Lexi. It was Lexi's idea. And I'm going to follow it because I think it's a great one. So, Lexi, thank you for being here today. I appreciate it.
And I will talk to you later. Thank you.
Yes.
Bye, Alienated. Bye.
You guys, thank you for coming. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. And you guys know, no matter what time of day it is or wherever you are and what you're dealing with, it's going to be okay. And you do matter to me. You're greatly appreciated. Thank you for coming.
Every finger in the room is pointing at me. I want to spit in their faces, then I get afraid of what that could bring. I got a bowling ball in my stomach, I got a desert in my mouth. Figures that my courage would choose to sell out now. I've been looking for a savior in these dirty streets, looking for a savior beneath these dirty sheets. I've been raising up my hands, drop another nail in, just what God needs, one more victim. Why do we crucify ourselves every day? I crucify myself, and nothing I do is good enough for you. I crucify myself every day. I crucify myself. My heart is sick of being, I said my heart is sick of being in chains. Suffering so that I can have my cross. I know a cat named Easter. He says, will you ever learn? You're just an empty cage, girl, if you kill the bird. I've been looking for a savior in these dirty streets. for you. I crucify myself every day. I crucify myself. My heart is being, I see my heart is being chains. Oh, oh, chains. Oh, oh, please, 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 save me. I looking for a savior in these dirty streets. Looking for a savior beneath these dirty sheets. I've been